Now I'd like to introduce you to two incredible gentlemen that have made this night possible. It's really a year in review and a vision of the future. First off, Wayne Connell. It's Invisible Disability Association's president and CEO. And he founded IDA in 1996 out of the desire to really educate friends and family about his wife, Sherry's debilitating illness. Now, soon afterwards, people around the globe began sending emails and sharing how IDA has changed their life and their relationship with their loved ones. They started understanding. He's also the co-author of the book, But You Look Good: How to Encourage and Understand People Living with Illness and Pain. Wayne's background, a little bit about him. He's fueled his passion for helping people living with illness, pain, and disability. His experience includes that of a professional multitasking husband caregiver with an extensive background in management, media, and technology. This man on a mission quickly launched IDA into a worldwide outreach for millions living daily with invisible disabilities. Thank you, Wayne, for doing what you did, and you've accomplished so much. Also, Jess Stainbrook. He joined IDA February 2018 as the first full-time employee to help with operations and was quickly promoted to executive director. Really a tangible example of Jess's hard work and advocacy in 2021 was passing into law two legislative efforts in Colorado that allowed Disability.ID symbol on government IDs, and also creating disability awareness training for law enforcement, also first responders and educators, which is amazing. It's outstanding. In addition to his experience in a nonprofit management and marketing career, Jess is probably most well known for his work in media and movies. Get this. He's received 8 Emmy Awards. That's incredible. And 29 nominations. The man is talented. Let's just say that. Jess does have dyslexia. He's actually grew up in a home with a father who lived with epilepsy. So Jess and his wife, Kina, live in Colorado. They have 3 beautiful daughters. Invisible illness have directly impacted their family. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Wayne and Jess.
Hey, man, Jess, great to be on this amazing gala this year.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. I mean, we are live, so lots of things are happening. And you'll see that sometimes I'm not always looking at the camera as I should, because there's notes, there's cameras, there's all kinds of stuff going on. But I will say this is a blast, and we're excited to see everybody's making comments from all over the world. Thank you for joining us. This is so exciting. And yeah, let's just dig in here a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna give a shout out to Insomnia Doodles, who is helping us on Twitch. You know, we don't know a lot about Twitch. We're learning, but one real shout out to her. So thank you so much, Insomnia. You know, you're right, Jess. This is Invisible Disabilities, what we do every year. People have no idea behind the scenes, all the stuff that we're working on, just to really make a difference for the millions of people around the world that live with invisible disabilities. You know, they're invisible. We want to help them not be invisible. So, or as we like to say, invisible no more. So tell us about these great bills in Colorado that you were involved in.
Well, yeah, Denise mentioned it a little bit. It really was an amazing year here, which opened the door for us to really work with a bunch of other states and at the federal level. In Colorado, as Denise mentioned, we had 2 House bills that we were pushing to get through, and we got them approved as law. So that's pretty cool. The one was having a disability symbol ID available to go on a driver's license or any government ID. It also has a database. All of this is voluntary options, by the way, so that if you're not comfortable with having something on your license, you don't have to. But there's also a database where somebody can put notes in there, and say they got pulled over by law enforcement, those notes would pop up recognized from the license plate. And you know, it might say something like, you know, a child in this car has autism and is, you know, upset by bright lights and loud noise. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we're doing like that are really making a huge difference. The other bill, which is really exciting, allows for disability training for first responders, law enforcement, and educators. So we're really moving that forward. We piloted it here in Colorado, and we've got a couple other states that are already interested in it. So yeah, that's a great start.
Yeah, I think about the designated symbol, and we got that first in Alaska a few years ago, and and now it's in Colorado. It took us 3 years to get in Colorado. It's a long journey. There's a lot of other states I know that we're looking at, and I know you've been having conversations around the world, even in Australia, New Zealand. I think in the UK, different places. So
South
um,
Africa, let's see what, and Taiwan are
right.
some of the countries that have started to really identify with that symbol. And yeah, we'll talk. Well, actually, let's bring that
Yeah,
up
just
next.
go into it. Yeah, exactly
Yeah,
right.
right. So it was interesting during COVID, and while we were working on this legislation, a lot of folks reached out to us to say, well, what can we have now? Because the legislation is taking so long. And so we launched this grassroots effort that has this what we call the Disability ID. Let me go to the next slide here. And you can see there's a USA version, there's an international version. They both do the same thing. And the goal of this is really to have something that you can pull out and have around your neck when you want to have it. At the grassroots level, not everybody knows about this. So we're trying to get people to kind of get involved, and we become the voice that starts to identify this symbol as people living with invisible disabilities.
Well, yeah. So I've got one of these, Jess, and I think you have one. If you want to, we
I
can
do.
show.
Yeah, I have
Um,
mine. Yeah.
Right. So one of the
Yep.
great things about this is if you want to use it, you just take it into a store. This is our goal,
Yep.
that you would go in a store. You don't have to track down the manager and explain why you need help in the store, and they question you. Well, you don't look like you need help, and all this crazy stuff. Is that we want to be able to educate those the stores and the businesses and say, hey, if you see this symbol, just ask, how may I help you? And what's great is, I take this with me. My wife's got one. She takes it with her, so that if you're out and about, it's got your photo, so they know it's tied to you. And there's an emergency contact number on here. They can reach out to that person if they've got any questions or whatever to help. So yeah, it's a grassroots. We want people to really understand that these are going to have a huge impact around the world. And this symbol right here, which is not a symbol but it's for accessibility, which like the wheelchair is, it's a symbol for disability.
Yeah, this is really great stuff that we're talking about, Wayne. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you talk about some of the things we've done with our Speakers Bureau this year?
Yeah, so this last year, Jess and we speak quite often around the nation, and the great thing through we can do it online now a lot too. Is this last year, Jess and I presented at the Building Leaders in Employment First conference here in Colorado to really talk to businesses about hiring and how they engage employees when it comes to invisible disabilities. I personally had the opportunity to sit on a national diversity panel for Kahila, amazing organization about women for women professionals. We had almost 1,000 attendees on that, and I got to talk about disabilities as part of the diversity panel. And then recently, Jess, it was awesome as you joined me at the 1-year anniversary of the launching of the DISH Disability Advocates Network. That's a DISH Network employee resource group. And why do I get excited about that? Well, I work for DISH Network during the day, and that's my day job. And then I do the organization volunteer. I've done that for the last 25 years that I volunteer for the organization. So, over the years, like I said, we've helped multiple companies, educational institutions, colleges, law enforcement we're getting involved with, those things. But Jess, you and I are the only ones. If it's just us going out there talking, we need other people. So tell us about our amazing ID ambassadors.
Yeah, for sure. We couldn't do this alone. Obviously, there's a ton of volunteers that step up, and our ambassador program is really amazing, where folks will get in touch with us and ask how they can help. And obviously, they live in a community and they live in a state, and so a lot of these folks go out and they do their own talks and raising awareness for people living with invisible disabilities. And then some of these folks too connect us to different organizations or legislative efforts that kind of puts our foot forward as far as helping in that state to move things forward, to get things approved like that Disability ID. So yeah, it's been pretty powerful.
Well, even just today, some of our ambassadors I know are even helping us on our social media right now, which is awesome.
That's true. Well, what's really funny? I just saw a comment. Somebody said, "Hey, Wayne is really looking good, all dressed up." I'm like, "Oh shucks, I was business casual today." So yeah,
Well, that's the way it goes.
yeah. Well, we
Well,
got a little bit
when
of
you're
both
working
going on.
behind the scenes, a lot of time that's how it is. You get the benefit of business casual.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's see what Denise has got for us. How's that?
Thank you, Wayne and Jess. You two have done an amazing job. We appreciate all the work you've done for so many people, truly.